The honourable member for Hotham.
Speaker, I rise to make a statement on behalf of Dingley Village residents in relation to Moorabbin Airport. Dingley Village is a tight-knit community with great schools and active community groups in the southeast corner of my electorate of Hotham. It's a place where people look after each other's kids and keep an eye on their neighbours. It's also a suburb built in the shadow of Moorabbin Airport, and tonight I want to report to the House on some issues of concern that have been raised with me. By and large, Dingley Village residents were attracted to live in this area because of its semi-rural character. Moorabbin Airport is part of Melbourne's Green Wedge, what we call the lungs of the southeast. When the airport opened in the 1940s on 294 hectares of Crown land, the area was full of market gardens, florists and dairy farms. Since then, Madam Speaker, Moorabbin Airport has become the third busiest in Australia by flight movement, 250,000 movements in and out of that airport each year, and the busiest airport in Australia for pilot training. And since then, the use of that land has fundamentally changed. Instead of public land being used for public benefit, the airport is becoming a giant retail complex operated by one of the largest commercial companies in Australia. Now, making a statement today is necessary because of very recent developments on this issue. Last year, the owner of Moorabbin Airport proposed to build a huge 12,000 square metre Wesfarmers retail space. Dingley Village has its own shopping centre and its own supermarket. The residents tell me that they'd like to see an upgrade there, but that it is still the heart and soul of this local community. Kingston Council has predicted that the Wesfarmers redevelopment could cause a drop of 46% in trade at those local shops. They already have 20 empty shops. It's going to make their local shopping centre unviable, and that's why many Dingley Village residents were relieved when, under the previous government, the Minister for Infrastructure and Transport, the member for Grayndler, decided to refuse the proposal. Last September, as we know, a new government was elected and the member for Wide Bay has taken over with quite a different approach. We've been told that the minister has instructed Commonwealth lawyers to tone down their objection to the retail development at Moorabbin Airport. Dingley Village Community Association, which is the main community group operating in this suburb, has asked to be joined as a party to the hearing into the decision, a request that I strongly supported. Minister Truss has taken the opposite view and instructed his lawyers to oppose the DVCA, the most significant local community group in this area, from being joined to the hearing. And the minister will not meet with me on this subject or acknowledge my letters. The Shadow Attorney-General, the member for Isaacs, who is just next door to me, and I have both written to the minister asking to meet with him to put the views of local residents. It's pretty basic and my right as a member of parliament. But imagine the minister refuses to meet with a local member who simply wants to put the views of local residents. Now, the good news is we will have another opportunity to engage in consultation soon. In 2015, the minister will sign off on the next airport master plan. And to ensure that I understand the views of my local community, I recently surveyed Dingley residents to gauge their opinions. What I found, Madam Speaker, was that most residents do not support more retail development at the airport. In addition, most do not support more development in the Green Wedge. The other issue the survey covered was in relation to airport noise, which negatively impacts many of these residents on a daily basis. Most residents said that aircraft noise was worst in the late evening, but only 15% have ever lodged a formal complaint, with many telling me that there's no point in doing so because they feel it will go unacknowledged. Now, despite the substantial changes and the substantial increase in the size of the suburbs surrounding the airport, since the airport's been established, aircraft movements have remained uncapped. The sky's the limit. There are 250,000 movements per annum, two-thirds of which are related to pilot training. Think of the frustration that many of these residents must experience. The 2010 Master Plan projects that aircraft movements will double by 2029. That will be 500,000 movements a year. This is an airport that's in the middle of suburban Melbourne. That is why it is critical that the minister be aware of community concerns before he signs off on the next Master Plan. Dingley Village residents who experience thousands of aircraft movements above their area each day deserve to be heard. And so I return to the fundamental question here. Is the public land of Moorabbin Airport being used for public benefit? As a local member, I will continue to fight to have their voices heard in decisions that so profoundly affect this local area.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. I call the honourable member for Dirac. Thank you, Madam Speaker.